What would you do if you walked into your own bedroom, the sanctuary you built with the woman you loved, and found her tangled in the sheets with another man? The digital clock on the nightstand glowed to 17 a.m., a stark, unforgiving red against the oppressive darkness of our Chicago apartment. My heart didn't just break, it shattered into a million shards, each one a searing pain. The air was thick with the stench of betrayal, a cloying perfume mixed with something metallic, like fear. I stood frozen in the doorway, the faint light from the hallway casting long, grotesque shadows that danced with the horror unfolding before me. Her eyes, wide with a terror I'd never seen, met mine, and in that instant, our entire life together imploded. The stranger, a faceless blur in my rage-filled vision, scrambled, pulling the duvet higher, but it was too late. The image was burned into my retina, a permanent scar on my soul. I felt a primal scream clawing its way up my throat, but no sound escaped, only a low, guttural growl. What I did next, I knew, would change everything, but the details of that night, the full, agonizing truth, were still a mystery waiting to unravel. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel, tell us where you're from, and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. The humiliation was a physical weight pressing down on me, making it hard to breathe. I stumbled back out of the bedroom, out of the apartment, into the cold, unforgiving Chicago night. The wind whipped around me on North Michigan Avenue, but it couldn't cool the inferno inside. My wife, Sarah, the woman I'd sworn to cherish, had reduced our decade-long marriage to a cheap, sordid affair. The stranger, a man I later learned was Mark, a junior partner at her law firm, was nothing more than a prop in her betrayal. I drove aimlessly, the city lights blurring into streaks of pain, until I found myself parked overlooking Lake Michigan, the vast, dark water mirroring the emptiness in my chest. Looking back, the signs were there, subtle at first, then glaring. The late nights at the office, always with a new, flimsy excuse. The sudden obsession with her appearance, new lingerie, expensive perfumes. The way her phone was always face down, always locked, always within arm's reach. I dismissed them, blinded by love, by trust. I was a fool. Then came the coldness. Sarah, once warm and affectionate, became distant, her touch mechanical, her words clipped. Our evenings, once filled with laughter and shared dreams, became silent, punctuated only by the clinking of cutlery and the drone of the television. She'd retreat to her phone, a secret world I wasn't allowed into. I tried to talk, to bridge the growing chasm, but she'd deflect, accuse me of being paranoid, of being controlling. Her manipulation was subtle, insidious, making me question my own sanity. She made me feel like the problem, the one driving a wedge between us. One Tuesday, I found a receipt for a high-end boutique on Oak Street, a place she never shopped. It was for a men's watch, an expensive one. My stomach clenched. I confronted her and she spun a tale about a client gift, a bonus for a big case. I wanted to believe her, desperately, but the seed of doubt had been planted, watered by her increasing arrogance. She walked around with an air of untouchable superiority, as if she knew a secret that made her better than me. Mark, the affair partner, was equally smug. I'd seen him at a firm event once, his eyes lingering on Sarah a moment too long, a possessive smirk playing on his lips. They thought they were invincible. The emotional breakdown came slowly, a creeping paralysis. I'd sit in my office, staring at spreadsheets, unable to focus. My friends noticed, my family worried. I told them I was stressed with work, but the truth was, I was dying inside. The man who had once been loyal, trusting, and full of life was now a hollow shell. But beneath the despair, a flicker of something else began to ignite, a cold, calculated resolve. I wouldn't just survive this, I would make them pay. My revenge began quietly, meticulously. I hired a private investigator, a discreet man named Frank, who operated out of a nondescript office on West Randolph Street. Frank's reports were devastating, a timeline of their sordid affair, clandestine meetings at the Peninsula Hotel on North Michigan, stolen kisses in the parking garage at 200 East Randolph, Hushed phone calls from her office on South Wacker Drive. I gathered every text message, every email, every credit card statement. I documented her lies, her gaslighting, her cruelty. I built a fortress of evidence, brick by agonizing brick. I consulted with a divorce attorney, a sharp, no-nonsense woman named Miss Davies, whose office overlooked the Daily Center. She laid out the legal landscape, the financial implications, the custody battles. I wanted everything. The legal traps were set first. Miss Davies filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences and, crucially, infidelity. The evidence I'd gathered was irrefutable. Sarah's arrogance crumbled in the face of the truth. Her firm, a prestigious one, had a strict no-fraternization policy, especially when it involved married employees. The social traps followed. I anonymously sent copies of the evidence to key partners at her firm, along with a detailed account of her deceit. I also sent it to the local bar association, highlighting her unethical conduct. The public exposure was swift and brutal. The firm launched an internal investigation, and within days, Sarah was suspended, then fired. Mark, her smug lover, was also terminated, his career in ruins. The news spread like wildfire through the Chicago legal community. Her carefully constructed facade of success and respectability shattered. Friends, colleagues, even her own family turned their backs on her. The divorce proceedings were a public spectacle. The details of her infidelity splashed across local tabloids. She lost everything: her job, her reputation, her friends, and eventually, a significant portion of our shared assets, including the apartment on North Michigan Avenue. I saw her once, months later, walking down State Street, her shoulders slumped, her eyes hollow. She looked like a ghost of the woman I once knew, a woman consumed by her own selfishness. I felt nothing, no anger, no satisfaction, just a profound, chilling emptiness. The revenge was complete, but it hadn't brought back the man I was, the man who believed in love and trust. It had only left a void. The silence in my apartment now, the one I once shared with her, is deafening, a constant reminder of the cost of betrayal, the end.